It's Sustainable Planet time! Well done for making it to session 3 of the YCare resources, and hopefully you've been following along, or maybe this is your very first session, in which case, welcome, and we hope you've already been having some really good conversation and thinking about our sustainable planet and why it matters. My name's Tim Baker. I'm the Head of Public Engagement at YCare International. We are a charity seeking to be on behalf of YMCAs all around the world to seek to see every young person's potential fulfilled. That's about you. It's about the community where I live here in West Yorkshire in the UK, but it's also about all the people all around the world who YCare seek to serve and our YMCA partners seek to support and be alongside. So we want to tell you a little bit more about that in this little video, and also to remind you that we need you to be a part of the change if we are going to make a sustainable planet for everyone. That's one of the Vision 2030 statements of the World YMCA, is that we're seeking a sustainable planet. That's going to take every single one of us doing our bit. So welcome along as we explore a little bit more about what YCare are doing as part of that. To do that, I want to take you to Malawi for a moment. Maybe you've been to Malawi before, but just before we do that, just before we hop on a plane and imagine ourselves flying out to Malawi, just turn to the person sitting next to you and tell them, and then listen to their answer to this question. Why does a sustainable planet matter to you? Why does keeping our world going in a safe way that means it will still be here for 10, 20, 100, 1,000 years? Why does that matter to you? Just turn to the person next to you. You've got 30 seconds. And you're back in the room. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hopefully you got time in those 30 seconds to share something for you and something and listen to somebody else's story of why does it matter to you that our planet is still here, that it's sustainable, that it lasts for a long time. Maybe there's something in particular about our planet that you really enjoy. Maybe it's that you get to be alive on it. And one of the reasons I want a sustainable planet is that I have a 4-year-old daughter who I want to be able to grow well into her old age, and for her to have children and grandchildren who get to enjoy the wonderful places, beaches, lakes, mountains, and views that I've got to enjoy in my life. I want this world to be here for her as she grows up and maybe even has a family of her own. But remember, I promised you a trip to Malawi. I wonder if you know where Malawi is. Let's watch this map as it takes us from where we are to Malawi in Africa. As you can see, lots of Malawi is taken up by that great big lake. Can you see the blue lake running down the middle of our screen there? And all across Malawi, there are lots of people living lots of different lives, but a lot of people are living in rural communities, in farming communities, where what they do to live is they grow food. They grow their own food, and they rely on what they can grow to feed their families, to maybe get a little bit of extra food that they can sell, and then they can use that to buy school books or pay for any extra healthcare that they might need. But most people depend on the things they can grow with their hands. They depend on the planet being sustainable. They depend on the weather behaving itself. They depend on the climate being the same as it has always been. But perhaps you know by now that there is climate change. The climate is changing. In fact, it's changing so fast that scientists are calling it a climate crisis. This isn't just a few changes here and there, it's a lot of dramatic changes, and it's really changing the way people live their lives. It's what we're finding out more and more at YCare International, is as we hear the stories of YMCAs and YMCA partners and friends who have got members or are connected with some of these rural farming communities, that more and more people are worried about how are they going to grow enough food to live their lives. In one particular part of Malawi, there's a river that normally floods this plain and enables people to grow their crops. But I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but they have flooded. The flood has come so drastically that it's dropped sand, layers and layers of sand all over this part of the country. So where there used to be fields, it now just looks like a huge, great big beach for miles and miles. And the sand is sometimes this thick, this deep. Imagine trying to grow something where the first thing you've got to do is dig away 2 feet, 3 feet sometimes worth of sand before you can even get to the soil. And then you have to start digging to plant the crops in the soil. It's ruining people's lives and people's harvests because the rain is now unpredictable. So the flooding is unpredictable. The river bursts its banks and more people are struggling as a result. That's just one story from one place in Malawi where there is a challenge. And what YCare and our partners are doing in that area is helping people to adapt. Okay, what can we do differently? How can we find ways to plant crops amongst the sand? How can we grow other things that might not rely on as much soil? How can we move some of the farming land? We are adapting, and we have amazing friends and YMCA partners all around the world who are able to adapt, able to think on their feet, to think, okay, we used to do it like this, now let's do it differently because of this change. And that's brilliant. And we want to celebrate that. And we want to thank you for your support for YCare International, which is what makes that possible. It makes it possible for us to do that kind of work. Any support you can give us enables us to help make a difference. Any money you can raise in your community, any way you can persuade your local groups or local communities to have a fundraising project for YCare, that helps us to help people like those living in Fombe in Malawi to adapt and to change. And that matters. And thank you for that. That's the first thing I need to say. But time is running out, isn't it? It's all well and good adapting, but what about the fact that we can't keep on adapting forever? We have to know that at some point something has to give, and we won't be able to carry on adapting fast enough to help make a difference. So yes, we need to adapt, but we also need to change. And that's where we need every single one of you, because maybe some of you can financially support what we're trying to do. Maybe you can give, maybe you can fundraise, but all of us can raise our voices. All of us can say, we want a sustainable planet too. And here's why. All of us can challenge our friends and our family when we think they're not doing enough about climate change. All of us can write to our politicians and leaders and youth group leaders and community leaders and ask them what they're doing about the climate crisis, how they're responding, how they are making this planet more sustainable, more likely to last, how they're making it possible for people like those in Fombe in Malawi to continue to live. Will you join me as we campaign, as we advocate for a better, safer climate? Just to finish, I want to share with you a little video that celebrates the fact that YCare International was at COP26, which happened last year in Glasgow. And you may have been following some of the things that, as I'm recording this, are happening right now at COP27. That's the global politicians gathering, the leaders of many countries gathering to talk about the climate crisis and how they can respond. YCare is one of the ways that the YMCA advocates into those conversations and continues to try and seek change, to seek the kind of dramatic change that we need. But so too are all of us. We all have a voice. We all have choices to make. Let's work together to try and make the world, the planet, a safer, more sustainable, long-term place. Hope to see you soon.